So we can point it to our EC2 machines, or we can point it to any other services that has IP addresses. Why the route 53 as a name? Because the DNS port number is DNS port number is 53, so that's why the naming convention is like route 53 over here. Let's go and create a domain. You will face this page. Let's go to the get started, and this is the get started option. You can choose different option over here, but the first one is register domain. Now whenever you want to register a domain, like let's say it says like if you want something like example.com, like facebook.com or google.com or your company name.com, then you can create it over here. So you can just register a domain over here, like let's say I'm just gonna go with dgcl.com and search it, but you can see dgcl.com is not available. Somebody have already used it, but there are other options like dgcl.io, d-gcl.com, but all of these have cost, right? So the thing is, like if you want your domain name, then it's costly. Some might cost 12, some might cost 14, some might cost 31. So depending upon how valuable the domain name is, it costs a lot more. Let's just give an example for Facebook. Probably it might not show the price. Let's see. Okay, so it doesn't show the price for the facebook.com. This must be in millions, maybe billions, but anyway, you get the idea. So in order to get this kind of a name for a website, you need to pay some price. This is like 14 USD per year, but in our lab we're going to test it on a local space, so we don't really need the public domain names. Let's just go to our hosted zone and create a host zone. So hosted zone, I'm just going to name it, so I'm just going to name it my test domain.local, and description is optional. So public hosted zone, so if you can buy the DNS, then you can use the public hosted zone, okay? But if you are using something like this and this is not publicly registered and you cannot access that by internet, then private hosted zone is what we can use. So in private hosted zone we can select and VPC, let's say Tokyo, and I got VPC over here. Then this particular domain name can be accessed in this particular VPC, and if there are two EC2 instances and one of the instances we put this domain name and IP address are configured, then from another EC2 instance we can access the first EC2 instance with this domain name. So that's the point. For this demo purpose we can do that, like for testing cases we can use this kind of domain name. But even if we put private hosted zone over here, so this is not publicly registered, so that's why this will automatically turn it to private zone. So let's just create it in a public zone. Once they created, it create two records, the name server record and the SOA. So so we can just create one more record from here. Just create a record, and I'm gonna say this is a test record, and it is gonna be a record type of A. So A records are something that are used to routes to traffic to IP addresses or other AWS resources. So if you want domain name to redirect to directly to the if you want to redirect a domain name directly to an IP address, then you use A records. So we need to put an IP address over here, 192.168.1.1. so this is something that this is just an example, okay? So there is no instance or there is no server with this IP address, but we can test it out, like with what this record is pointing towards. TTL is something that we use to check that we use for a health check, or like if it doesn't go for infinity. So once 300 seconds is reached and we cannot access the server, then it terminates the server session. So that's the point, that you don't want to continue asking for a server if that is not available. Routing policy, so we don't really need to go through it. So these are like weighted route, geolocation route. So something like, let's say if I'm accessing my website from London, then I need to go to a London server. But if I am accessing the same website from USA, then it is better that I get located to the US server, right? So depending upon your location, we can redirect to different path. So this is how we can use it. But this is a simple lab. We are not going to go through all of this. Just simple routing is good enough for us. Create route. I hope the recording is working because this is the second time. Create another record just for a test. So I'm gonna do www for this one, and I'm gonna put cname. So cname is something that we use to route traffic to another domain name. So with a name we route traffic to an IP address, but cname we route traffic to a different domain name. So where we want to route, if we use www, we want to route it to our previous domain name that we created. So it is test my test local.com, like, okay. Remember to put dot at the last, and the same thing, just create a record. So once we have two records, let's just go to our terminal. Terminal is over here. With this terminal we can access, or we can put AWS commands to we can run AWS commands in our browser, and it directly connects to our AWS account. So let's see. So I got one command over here. I will just copy paste it. I will put that in a runbook. Just paste it, and the command is AWS route 53 test DNS answer, and we need to put hosted zone ID. This is where we put it, and the record is record name is test.mytestdomain.local, and this is a type of a record. So this is the one that we set up, right? Let's just go to our so we need our hosted zone ID. Just click on the hosted zone, this drop down, and you should get ID over here. Just copy it and paste it over here. Paste it, and then run this command. So you can see this test something dot local is a type record, and it is being redirected to 192.168.1.1. So we know, like, if we put this IP address, then we know if we put this domain name, then we got an IP address of this. So that's the point, right? But let's go to our, let's copy paste the same command, but instead of record type A, we put cname, the second record that we created, and it was www. Let's press enter, and with this command you can see www my test domain local is now directing to test my test domain, and we know that my test domain redirects to 1.192.168.1.1. so that's the point. So even if we put www, this should redirect to this IP address. So we can test it out, and it's set up completed, right? But we cannot access this kind of IP address from our internet because we need to register it. These are not registered to a domain registrar. So that's it for this lab. Thank you.